You're scrolling through social media on what seems like an ordinary Tuesday morning, and suddenly you see this.
How you feel? She didn't talk her. Get up. You scared as hell, right? Scared as hell. Keep at it, baby. Scared as hell. That is not self-defense. You were trying to self in the car, bro. You were trying to hit the kid, bro. What are you talking about? You had her in a headlock. And then you shot her, Brody. I was there. I'll write a statement, bro. Don't worry about it.
I want her arrested. There's a fucking gun on the street. I'm licensed to carry.
It doesn't matter, though. It doesn't matter, bitch.
You shot somebody, nigga. What the fuck wrong with you?
Calm down. Calm the fuck down.
He out his mother. He out his. She put the gun in the car. The gun, she shot her? This one right here. She shot her. She shot her. She put the gun in the car. She put the gun in the car. The gun is in the car.
A young mother, barely into her 30s, gunned down in broad daylight while dropping her child off at elementary school. The shooter? Her baby daddy's new girlfriend. The location? Right there in front of horrified parents and children. Before we dive into this heartbreaking story, I want you to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell, because cases like this one remind us why we need to keep talking about domestic violence and the warning signs that too many people miss. This is the story of Rama Meeks, and it's going to stay with you long after you finish listening. Rama Meeks came into this world in 1994, growing up in the bustling streets of Chicago, where dreams and nightmares often walk hand in hand. She was the kind of woman who lit up a room without even trying. Her smile was infectious, her laugh was genuine, and when she moved to music, you could see pure joy radiating from every fiber of her being. But more than anything else, Rama was a mother. And not just any mother, she was the kind of mother who would move heaven and earth for her child. Her little boy, Carlos, though everyone called him Lo, was born on a crisp September day in 2018. From the moment he took his first breath, he became Rama's entire universe. She didn't just raise him, she poured her soul into shaping the kind of human being she wanted him to become. Every milestone, every scraped knee, every bedtime story, they were all sacred moments to her. If you looked at her social media, you'd see thousands of followers watching her document the beautiful chaos of single motherhood. But these weren't staged photos or performative posts. These were real glimpses into a woman who found genuine happiness in the simple act of being someone's mum. Beach trips where Lo's giggles echoed over the waves. Quiet mornings where they shared breakfast and inside jokes. Birthday celebrations that she planned like they were red carpet events. The woman had wanderlust running through her veins. She'd take Lo on adventures that most kids only see in movies. Destinations that required saving every penny and planning every detail. Because to Rama, experiences mattered more than material things. She wanted her son to see the world beyond their neighborhood, to understand that life held infinite possibilities. But behind all those smiling photos and happy captions, Rama was fighting battles that most people never knew existed. The father of her child, Carlos Way, who went by Losos or sometimes Rackboy Loso when he was trying to make it in the music scene, was a complicated presence in their lives. On paper, he seemed like he was trying. His own social media showed a young man hitting the gym religiously, hanging with his crew, and posting about his kids like they were his pride and joy. He had dreams of making it big in the music industry, and he talked a good game about being a dedicated father. But the reality was messier than his carefully curated online persona suggested. Los had moved on. By early 2025, he had a new relationship with a woman named Holly Johnson, and in February, they welcomed their own son, a baby they named Carson. Suddenly, Rama found herself navigating the complex world of co-parenting with a man who was building a whole new family while still being tied to his old one. And that's where things started getting ugly. Rama wasn't the type to keep her feelings bottled up. When something was eating at her, she spoke about it. When someone crossed a line, she called it out. In February of 2025, she took to social media with frustration dripping from every word. "I seriously don't like a person that does not hold themselves accountable for their actions. Like one thing about me, if I'm right or wrong, I fully hold myself accountable. I can't deal with anybody narcissistic behavior. People always seem to blame people for what they did, and only look at reactions, and that's insane to me. I really dislike this generation. Males are not protectors no more, and females think being a naughty is cool. Those weren't just random thoughts she was sharing with the internet. They were pieces of her reality, fragments of conversations and confrontations that were happening behind closed doors. By summer, her posts had gotten more pointed, more urgent. Good morning, everyone. You know what really gets under my skin? When people tell you to stay quiet about things that are hurting you. So I'm supposed to just sit here feeling disrespected and damaged, and pretend everything's fine? Absolutely not. I speak my truth and I stand firm in my feelings. The problem with people today is that they'd rather harbor secret resentments and fake their way through relationships than actually address what's wrong. Y'all have made dishonesty way too comfortable. I can't live like that. Lately, I've been cutting people out of my life, and I'm perfectly fine with whoever ends up on that list. These weren't just social media rants. They were battle cries from a woman who was tired of being disrespected, tired of being treated like her feelings didn't matter, tired of watching someone else dictate how her story would be told. And the drama kept escalating. Loss, meanwhile, was playing both sides. His social media showed him as the devoted father, and his actions were telling a different story. According to court records, Rama had taken out a restraining order against Sept. Think about that for a moment. A woman doesn't file legal paperwork against her child's father unless she genuinely fears for her safety. That piece of paper represented months or maybe years of incidents that had escalated to the point where she felt she needed legal protection. But restraining orders are just paper. They can't stop bullets. They can't prevent jealousy from turning into rage. And they can't protect you when someone decides that your very existence is a threat to their happiness. On September 8, 2025, Rama woke up and started what should have been just another ordinary Monday. She got Lopi ready for school, packed his lunch, and did something that would break your heart when you hear it. She slipped a handwritten note into his lunchbox. The note read, "Happy Monday, son. Today is a fresh start to this, and you can start off strong. Always remain yourself. You are the coolest, smartest, and funniest kid I know. I love you so much, and you make me so proud. Have a great day, Mummy loves you. Love, Mummy." That was Rama in a nutshell. No matter what chaos was swirling in her adult world, she made sure her child felt secure, loved, and supported. She was fighting battles that would have broken most people, but she still found the energy to write encouraging notes and pack lunches with love. She had no way of knowing that this would be the last act of motherhood she would ever perform. Because while Rama was being a mum, Loss and Holly Johnson were making plans. Holly had no business being at that elementary school. Her child with Loss was barely 6 months old, nowhere near school age. But witnesses say she showed up anyway, and she wasn't there for a social visit. She was there for a confrontation. According to people who saw what happened, there was an argument between Rama and Holly. Words were exchanged, tensions escalated, and then things got physical. But here's where the story gets even more disturbing. Loss, the man who loved to show off his muscles and fitness routines online, allegedly used his strength in the worst possible way. Witnesses say he grabbed Rama and put her in a headlock, essentially restraining her and making her defenseless. And that's when Holly Johnson made a choice that would destroy multiple families forever. She pulled out a gun and fired. Rama Meeks, the woman who had just written a love note to her son that morning, was pronounced dead at the scene. Let that sink in for a moment. A mother was murdered in front of an elementary school while other parents and children watched in horror. This wasn't a dark alley or an abandoned building. This was a place where families should feel safe, where children should feel protected. The aftermath was chaos. Holly stayed at the scene, reportedly on her phone, and when police arrived, she told them she had a concealed carry license and claimed self-defense. But think about the logic here. How do you claim self-defense when you've just shot an unarmed woman who was being held down by your boyfriend? How do you justify bringing a gun to a school zone to settle a personal dispute? The community wasn't buying it. Not for 1 second. As news of the shooting spread, people started connecting dots that painted a very different picture than the self-defense narrative Holly was trying to sell. They remembered her past social media posts, including one that would later seem chilling in context. Sometimes you just have to start ending some people. Was this premeditated? Was this the result of months or years of jealousy that had finally boiled over? The evidence was pointing in some very disturbing directions. Think about the timeline here. Loss moves on with Holly and has a new baby. Holly develops jealousy and resentment toward Rama. Loss continues to be involved with both women because of the children. Rama files a restraining order because of ongoing harassment and confrontations. And then, on a Monday morning at an elementary school, it all comes to a head with Los allegedly holding Rama down while his new girlfriend shoots her. This wasn't random violence. This was the culmination of a toxic situation that had been building for months. The legal system is still sorting through the evidence. Detectives are reviewing video, cataloguing witness statements, and pulling phone and location data, trying to piece together a timeline that will stand up in court, not just online. As of now, the woman initially taken into custody has been released without charges. That doesn't mean there won't be charges. It means prosecutors are still weighing what the evidence supports. In the meantime, the court of public opinion has already thundered its verdict. Many see a setup, an act of calculated violence dressed up as a domestic dispute. What's undeniable is the harm left behind. 2 little boys are now living inside the crater of adult choices they never asked to be part of. Lo, 7 years old, has to make sense of a world where his mother, the one who wrote lunchbox love notes and planned adventures, won't be at pickup ever again. Baby Carson, not yet a year old, faces a future shadowed by a case that may define his earliest memories, no matter what the courts eventually decide. The shockwaves don't stop with them. An elementary school community is reeling. Parents are having impossible conversations at dinner tables about violence in safe places. Teachers are trying to stitch routine back together with patience and soft voices. And somewhere, people who loved a 31-year-old woman are choosing floral arrangements and photo boards instead of school supplies and a second-grade calendar. Vigils and memorials have become both mourning and testimony. Proof that Rama was more than a headline. Friends talk about her laugh that made strangers smile, the way she built a childhood out of moments for her son. Notes, birthdays, beach days, inside jokes. They also talk about the red flags that in hindsight look like flares, online spats that escalated, a restraining order that suggested real fear, a pattern of conflict that might have called for more intervention sooner. This case pushes us into uncomfortable questions about domestic violence and co-parenting in the social media era. When does posting through it pour gasoline on a real-world fire? When do boundary disputes turn into harassment? How often do we scroll past danger because it's messy and we don't want to get involved? Domestic violence doesn't always fit the movie script. Sometimes it's a lattice of overlapping relationships, new partners and old resentments. Sometimes the victim is a strong, vocal woman who insists on being heard. Sometimes it happens in bright daylight, in a school zone, in front of families. The investigation is ongoing, and presumption of innocence matters. But the loss is already permanent. A mother is gone. A child has lost his anchor. A school and a neighborhood are changed. Families on every branch of this story will be grappling with the aftermath for years. Rereading Rama's last posts now, you hear a woman fighting for peace, asking for the bare minimum to co-parent without harassment, to live without someone else's chaos spilling into her home, to protect the stability she was building for her son. Those aren't extravagant wishes, they're human ones. Rama deserved better. Her son deserved better. The community deserved better. If there is anything to carry forward from this, it's a renewed insistence on spotting warning signs, speaking up when patterns look dangerous, and refusing to normalize cruelty just because it's familiar or because it's wrapped in a caption. As we wait to see what prosecutors decide, we can hold 2 truths at once. The legal process takes time, and grief doesn't. We honor Rama not by sensationalizing her death, but by remembering the life she made, fierce, joyful, and centered on her child, and by doing the work where we live to keep other families from standing at this same edge. If you or someone you know is navigating domestic violence, coercive control, or harassment around custody or co-parenting, please reach out. Help exists. You don't have to face it alone.